Hi everyone and welcome back to Newegg TV. My name is Paul and today I'm going to be doing an unboxing and overview of this modular computer. This is an Xi3 5 series. So Xi3 with this series of computers has kind of taken the standard computer form factor and turned it on its head. They've made a modular system for themselves, and it has been featured at CES and actually won a CES Innovation Award in 2011. They were back there again this year, and they were also featured in the Valve booth because these Xi3 modular computers are definitely a contender for a Valve, a Steam box, which would be a small computer that you can run Steam games off of from your living room. And here's a look at the bottom where we have some of the features of this particular computer. Xi3 also wants you to use their computer for a long time, a useful life of 6 to 10 years, and that is thanks to the modular design. They have components that you can swap out to upgrade the computer fairly easily over time to make sure that you can stay up with the latest updates, such as increased bandwidth available from newer USB standards. You also have low energy use of 20 watts or less, so you have a significant total cost of ownership savings versus standard PCs. It's easily upgradable and modifiable. Very small footprint. This one happens to ship with Windows 7 installed, although it is fully capable of running other x86-based operating systems and software, such as Linux. This package contains the computer, a power cord, a computer startup guide, and a warranty booklet, and let's take a look at those. So inside the box, we have packaging, of course. Alright, so here's the computer itself. We're going to finish on that. Let me go over our accessories first of all. So here is your Xi3 Modular Computer Installation Guide. I've been reading through this a little bit to familiarize myself more with the product. I'm not going to flip through the whole thing, but it's all written in very easily understandable English to sort of help you out with getting the device turned on, reading about the different connectors and components installed. You also have a limited warranty, so some information there provided from Xi3. And then finally we have an external power brick to power the device. So here is the brick itself. As you can see, it's using the laptop style AC adapter cable. This is the end that plugs into your computer, and then your AC adapter plug right there. So here's a look at the Xi3 itself, and as you can see, very tiny form factor that this particular model is fitting within. And I should also point out we have an extruded aluminum housing that's covering 3 sides of this computer, and then we have the I/O panel on the back, and that is one of the 3 modular sides. I should flip it over so it's right side up. 3 modular sides of that motherboard inside, which again has been split up, and I'm going to open this up in a moment to give you guys a better look. As you can see, pretty much all the airflow is moving from one side to the other, so it's going straight through there across a passive heat sink on the CPU to keep that cooled down, as well as the rest of the components. So as long as you have both ends of this open, you pretty much have lots of different options for actually installing this. For instance, they have a bracket you can purchase to mount this to the back of a VESA mount and mount it to the back of a computer. You also can get a bracket that allows you to stack these on top of each other if you have a situation where you might want more than one of them for accomplishing a certain task, or if you have, I don't know, if you have a need for multiple computers, I suppose. But here's a look at the I/O panel on the back. This is where most of the action is happening. I'll start in the top right here. You have a power button, of course. You have a AC adapter cable plug right there. You have 2 video connectors, so you have a dual link DVI and VGA, so this one will work with an adapter for a VGA connection or dual link DVI, and dual link does give you access to resolutions of up to 2560 by 1600. Bear in mind that is going to be somewhat reliant on the actual components and hardware that you have installed in here, because this being a modular computer, there's lots of different configurations available. We also have a display port here, and this will support dual displays, so you can connect both of those at the same time if you're running multiple monitors. You also have Ethernet, of course, sound easily labeled here for inputs, outputs, as well as microphone. Over on the right side here, you have a fair amount of USB connectivity, so one right here clearly indicating that's where you would connect your keyboard, 5 additional USB 2.0 ports right there, and then finally 2 eSATA ports for some external hard drive connectivity. So I'm going to walk you guys through the internals and the modularity of this little Xi3 computer. All you really need to disassemble it is a T10 Torx bit. I would also recommend one of these, which I'll show you guys in just a second, but you remove the 2 end panels with the honeycomb grill on them, set those aside, and then inside we can see the actual PCB design of the board. They've split it into 3, and basically once you've removed those ends, you can slide it out like so, and there's a look at that extruded aluminum housing. Pretty simple. And then here, you'll notice we have 3 PCBs, one on the bottom with the CPU, and then 2 on either side, which are handling some of your I/O. Now, you'll want to remove this top piece, and this is why I actually have this. This is one of those little hex bits that actually comes with motherboard standoffs. You can use not one of these to get these off, but these are just the little hex nuts that actually hold that dual-link DVI in place and also allow you to securely connect the dual-link DVI. So there's that little I/O shield, and then we can see the I/O for the device itself. Now, if you're going to be disassembling this, definitely make sure that you're using electrostatic protection, like I have already done, although I didn't show you guys. And also be very careful because once the modular components are actually installed into this baseboard, they do require just a little bit of push to get them out properly. I also don't recommend setting this directly onto a surface, for example. It might be tempting to reinstall these because you do need a little bit of force to get them back in because you don't want to damage any components that might be on the bottom. So use all of the care that you probably already do if you're familiar with working with computers. And here's a look at the 3 breakout boards. I'll start here in the middle because this is kind of where the main event is going on. This is actually your CPU board as well as your north bridge. So the CPU that's installed in this particular model right here is an AMD Athlon 3400E. It's a 1.8 gigahertz dual-core processor with a 22-watt TDP. Also integrated is 2 gigabytes of DDR2 memory, and that DDR2 memory, at least at this point, is not reconfigurable. So your base components here, you're pretty much going to be living with, unless they allow you to replace this board, which I'm not positive if is possible at this point, but who knows. Xi3 has talked about providing replacements for the I/O bits so that you can swap those out in the future to keep your computer up to date. But we have a single heatsink running along here with some fins and some nice big gaps for airflow. Single fan here is going to be pushing air across those as well as providing your main airflow for the computer through the grill right there that will be on the end. Across that, and also just kind of moving the warm air out of the chassis as it warms up. And then you have your breakout boards here, the other components that attach directly into that. So this is your video I/O, as well as your Ethernet, as well as your power and your power input, or power button I should say, and power input. So you got those right there. Also on this little breakout board, you have one wire here that's just providing power to the fan. And then here you have your audio inputs and outputs right there. You also have your USB and eSATA. This is actually also where the Southbridge chip resides, and they've managed to fit this in here with simply passive cooling. Actually, not even a heatsink on that Southbridge chip, but there's enough airflow in here to keep that cooled off enough, and that's a 780E. I'm sorry, the Northbridge is a 780E that's part of this one, and the Southbridge here is an SB710. Let me just show you guys. Actually, you also have an internal USB right there, which I didn't notice. Some software, for example, requires an internal USB header, but other than that, I'm not sure what that would be used for. And then here on the back, you have your storage. So you have a mSATA slot right there. This is physically the same as an MPCIe, but it's wired up for mSATA. So this particular model comes with a 32 gigabyte serial ATA, a 32 gigabyte SSD connected via the mSATA port right there, and that will have your Windows operating system pre-installed on it. This is also available in a 64 gig and a 128 gig models for the SSD, and apart from that, the internal components are the same. So let me just reassemble this to give you guys a better idea. Once again, this is similar to installing memory in my experience. Just give it firm pressure straight down. You'll notice that this actually makes contact with the top of that fan there. That actually helps it to be a little bit more secure and keeps the actual board from rocking back and forth. And just pop this one back in here as well. Whoopsie. As mentioned, always be careful. A little bit of pressure, and that fits in as well. And again, the RJ45 port is actually making contact a little bit with that fan, and again, that's helping keep those securely in place. Then you would just reinstall your I/O shield right there, reattach your screws, and then you'll be set back up. And that's going to wrap it up for this video, guys. Once again, this has been the 5 Series Modular Computer from Xi3, and in case you're wondering, the specific model of this one is X5A5342US. I'm Paul with Newegg TV, and if you enjoyed today's video, you can find more on our Newegg TV YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you all next time on Newegg TV.